Hey, friends. Welcome to Dishing on Divorce on the new streaming network and WGSN-DB, Going Solo Network radio, podcasts, and TV. I'm your host, Lisa Lisser, CEO and founder of LZL Coaching, a boutique coaching firm focused on divorce, relationships, and life transitions. I'm also a divorced mom of 3 now grown kids. I know the fear and overwhelm firsthand, and I'm here to provide help in ways that are obvious and not so obvious. My background in law, nonprofit leadership, Jewish education, and spirituality gives me insight and tools that uniquely guide you through this confusing and dysregulating time. Think of me as your guide on the side. And speaking of guides, today on this pre Thanksgiving episode, I want us to access the gratitude that is available to us even during challenging moments. Gratitude is about finding gifts through darkness. Viktor Frankl once shared that when we have a why, we can survive anyhow. We need to access hope. And in divorce, that could be my hope and my why is getting to the other side, is believing that there's another side. Sometimes we feel like there's no future, but there is. And today I'll be speaking with a guest who is uniquely gifted in helping you access your other side and find steps toward your future. Her name is Julie, and she's a psychic. A lifelong no tool psychic, Julie learned how to tune in and describe what she's seeing by using her intuitive, clairvoyant, clairsentient, clairaudient gifts. She's a medium and she senses auras and past lives. She even gets messages from loved ones and pets. And she knows that life is a journey. Julie understands that she can either be your guide that says, watch your step, or step here. But you make the choice and you walk the path. Julie believes you co create your destiny with the source. You're not alone. And perhaps you are meant to find peace, love, and happiness. And with that, I want to welcome Psychic Julie.
Hi, Lisa. So exciting to be here. I loved your intro about you. And I have to introduce somebody else. Maybe some listeners will know when I've done readings for them because she's right here, Harriet Katz.
Harriet
she's
Katz.
She wants to be really Harriet Katz really wants to be famous. She was very famous during Zoom for COVID, and she gets really excited. She wakes up from a dead sleep, no pun intended. But she also comes in during love readings. So I really kind of, even though we might be dishing on divorce, we're also going to be dishing on love, I hope.
Well, we're
And
talking about the other side, right? Like, what does it
yeah.
mean? How can a psychic help us through divorce and all of that kind of thing? But first, Julie, tell us
Yeah.
your story. How
My
did you get
story, well, everybody has a lot of chapters, and mine, I've done some really fun things. I've had some really fun businesses. I've written books. I've done a lot of consulting, and my dad got sick. And when
Mm,
that happened, I decided to sell my business. And the very short version of this is a good friend of mine, when I was saying I didn't know what to do, he was having a lung transplant, and we didn't know how long he was going to be in the
mm,
hospital and all this stuff. And she said, you need to help others and you need to get out of your own head. And you're a psychic. Why don't you just do that? So the long story short is that's what I did. I worked for different online places where people would call in the middle of the night. I loved it. I really earned my traps. The last place I worked, I did over 35,000 readings, and I know that because they had a counter.
wow.
And there was always people calling every single day about these closing one chapter, opening another one, whether it's breaking up with somebody or divorce and all the stages that you go through. And thank goodness there's someone like you out there helping people and holding their hands because
Thank you.
yeah, your qualifications and everything is really exciting. I might get a lot of really fun messages, but getting from here to there, that how, and talking about what you're doing with Viktor Frankl, I love that.
Yeah.
That helps people move forward, and that's what I feel like my job is. My job is kind of a guide, to tune in, and I don't sugarcoat anything. I'm pretty straightforward, but I will be gentle about certain things. Like, sometimes people make decisions when they're in the midst of grief or going through some other things, because when you're grieving a relationship and you're grieving why did this happen or things like that. I just think that I'm given some really great guidance from above and Harriet Katz.
Yeah.
Everyone, anybody who gets to see this gets to see Harriet Katz live in her cat room, by the way. This is her,
Obviously,
we're
it's
speaking from Harriet's room.
yeah,
So a lot of fun.
that's amazing. So what you're really saying is, you know, you are going through a time of transition and you needed to access your why, right? Like, why am I here? What am I meant to be doing right
Purpose, absolutely. Purpose is something as humans we examine and re-examine and re-examine. Not only did I have a why, but how could I be helpful? How
now?
could I do something where I was helping my family and helping other people? It's really the fact that I can do something for a stranger on the phone and they're like, "Oh my God, how'd you know?" And I'm like, "Well, I might be psychic." But the truth is, like, to get them to have the light bulb moment where they're like, "Oh, I can do this and I have
Yeah.
the strength and I have the ability," or "I'm just finding my courage." It's such a gift.
But
And
those are the things, right? Those are the things that during the divorce, we feel like we lose our spirit, our courage,
yeah.
our focus. And when we can go outside of ourselves and take a risk in something that feels a little bit fun to go see a psychic, right?
Well,
Like,
let me tell you, being psychic, there's a lot of different ways that different people do it. There's no right or wrong way. Somebody has to resonate with you. I do believe in that. And I think that, like, when somebody comes to see me when they're in the midst of this divorce transition, especially, and they have questions of like, am I not good enough? Everybody has a cheering section on the other side of people that are telling me, like, I get like both, AM and FM radio going on, like, she's so great. Look at what Lisa's doing and look at what she's doing here, and trying to be supportive and offering hope and opportunity. And I mean, listen, you're the one that has to do the work. The one thing about having a psychic on your side is that maybe I'm again turning on the light and kind of shining a light on some things that you kind of forget about in the midst of all the other stuff.
yeah.
Clearing the noise. It's a big thing, clearing the
Yeah,
noise.
clearing the noise. I mean, that's what I do is I help clients clear the noise. And part of what makes me effective and purposeful is that I went through it and I lived the potholes. I
Yeah.
stepped in the SH whatever because I just didn't know and I didn't have help. And I chose this path for myself at this stage of my life because I know I have tools that can help people and can help them get through
And
those
that's
periods.
what it is. And, I just did a 2-week trip abroad. And one of the best things, we had a guide. Now, the guide didn't tell us everything that was going on or didn't this, but just pointing us in the right direction. And it's funny because I'm going to give an analogy. One day they just kind of dropped us in, like, at lunchtime in the middle of 29,000 restaurants and said, go eat. And it was almost too many choices. And it was like, once I kind of pulled them aside and said, okay, look, this is what we're feeling like. We want fresh, we want delicious, we want fast, and then he's like, go left. That's all I needed. And I
Yeah.
feel like I'm sure that's my job and your job as well.
Yeah.
And it's nice to have this guide. And it's nice to have guides on the other side. I believe we have them. And we access them. And where we're going through some hard stuff, which one of my mentors uses the word contrast. We can't know up unless we know down, left unless we know right. So when we have this contrast happening, it's nice to have somebody who's not the best friend just saying what's kind of their thing. It's having somebody who has another perspective.
Right. And really, it's about having someone who doesn't have a stake in
Yeah,
the result, but just is helping you learn how to take steps for yourself.
exactly. My best readings are those that where I'm emotionally unattached,
Yeah.
because then I get some clarity, or again, I might get the light bulb that nobody was thinking to turn on.
Mhm.
So,
Right. Right. So tell me, what can psychic intuition do for me or my clients? And why would someone turn to a psychic at this moment?
well, I have a couple answers with that, and sometimes you'll stop me if I get too long-winded. But the first answer is psychic intuition. Everybody has, like,
Mm.
everybody can play the piano. Some people, like me, have to take lessons. Some people are just born with it and they can just play. But really, it's learning how to attune yourself to that wisdom That's right. Now, like, for example, sometimes I'll teach workshops, and one of the things that we do in a workshop is visualization, because I do believe in the power of positive thought. So that, where does that come from? Well, we can read about it in books, but also what's going on inside you, finding out like, how does it feel? And then really, when you fine tune it, which is really easy to do, then you're maybe trusting your gut. That's intuition. And maybe that gut is inspired by a loved one on the other side. Now, they can't live your life, and they might give you a little bit of advice that you're kind of like, huh? And you've got to trust yourself. This is your life, not theirs,
Right.
you know? So
Right. And
using, yeah, so using psychic intuition, there's, I'm sure there were always people that would say to you, okay, get back up on the horse, for example.
right.
And, Aunt Mary on the other side has got like 6 horses waiting for you, and you're not ready. And that's okay. It's not Aunt Mary's life. So I think being a psychic and using your intuition is one of those things that it's got to feel right. Things have to feel easy and effortless. Now, part of my job is, again, as I tune in and kind of like, I believe in auras and I believe in energy, and I look for things that really enlighten you, literally. Like, what brings your spirit up? What lifts you up? What brings you joy? Because once we're in that realm, that's the magic. That's
Right.
where a lot of things start, the dominoes start to fall. But
And
yeah. Oh, sorry.
no, in divorce, don't be sorry. Don't be sorry.
Yeah.
I want us to really have a conversation. So
Yeah.
in divorce, when people are experiencing that, they forget about what things light them up. They forget what their joy was because they feel overwhelmed by the unknown, by the what if, by the anger, by the grief. And
Right.
so how do you help lift them into remembering?
So I'll give you a really good personal example. When I do a reading, um, the first thing that I do is I tune into people's auras. Everybody has energy that just emits from them. I feel like it comes in colors. There's 14 colors, kind of like personality types. And then what we do is we talk about them and how to, um, for example, you and I both have blue in our aura. Blue is nurturing, caring, giving. It's a really beautiful feminine thing. But sometimes we try to rescue, save, fix, or make better things that don't need that. And
Mm,
especially in divorce, like, you might still be trying to fix something. It's just not fixable. You can't
mhm.
fix the other person. And you might have known that all along. And I might get something from somebody on the other side that might say, do you remember when this happened? And that was, again, this light bulb moment. That's
Yeah.
using your intuition and my intuition and kind of this global resource, if you will, the universal source. And because I do believe we co-create with God, and we're here for the adventure of it. And one last thing that I want to really say about this is, I'm a big believer that we don't get what we want, we get what we believe. So that's the other part that I try to help people with there. What are your beliefs? Where are you at today? you know we're the
Yeah.
sum of our choices, good choices and bad choices, and where are you at?
Yeah, that's so in sync with me because what I do when I work with clients is I ask them to talk about their values. What's most important to them? How do they want to show up in their life, in their divorce, with their kids, with their co-parent? How do you see yourself when you're at your best? And then they're remembering what are their talents, what are their skills, because it's so easy to like lose sight of your own joy.
Right, right. And it's not necessarily divorce, because we have friends that are going through this. So using that, that is so beautiful what you said and how to do that. And we really are on parallel tracks here, because that's what we do. I have a ton of fun stories on my website. It's psychicjulee.com. But one of the things that's on there is a story about somebody who didn't really trust themselves. And then of course they weren't really trusting me with what I said. Yeah, like, oh yeah, you're gonna move forward. You're gonna get through this. The light is on at the end of the tunnel. And they're like, no, no, it's never gonna happen. It's never gonna happen. And sometimes people just need to talk. They need to kind of talk through it. And when you're guiding them the way that you do, which is very gifted and very intuitive, and you're putting some more pieces in their puzzle, then I think they can start to step back and go, oh, wait, this is safe. I can look at this. I'm
Mm-hmm.
feeling like I can take a step forward. It's not
Right.
this jumping off of a cliff. And oh, yeah, I'm not a failure. Everybody's afraid to fail,
Yeah.
especially divorce. I mean, come on. Like,
Like there has
that's
to
such an
be,
old mantra.
yeah, like you feel like there's a winner and a loser. And someone's going to lose in divorce. And really, I have heard lawyers and negotiators say, well, each party has to be miserable at the end, then you know it's a fair deal. And I disagree with that. I
Thank
think
you. Where were you when I
I
needed you
really
as an attorney?
I disagree with that. That should not be the case. I think that it is possible, even though you have to split one pot two ways, it's possible to recognize that you can still move forward in strength and your partner can move forward in strength.
And being a psychic, that's literally what I try to do to point out to them. The hard part is when people don't see it as like immediate, they don't always believe it. And
Yeah.
again, we talked about wanting something. They want, but it's really, you got to believe it.
Yeah.
And as they're going through this, I mean, they're going to come to this other side and realize, I mean, they're getting divorced for a reason. You're getting divorced because it's not working. Why are you
Yeah.
staying in something that isn't right? It's okay. It's okay to move forward. It's okay to grow. It's
And
okay
it,
to go in different directions.
right. And also, and this is a piece that really it's sort of an aha moment for me, is that when you walk forward thinking, I'm never going to get what I deserve. He's always going to hold one over from me. He's going to be controlling me all the time.
He's
Then
getting
you're
more than me.
But that's putting that energy into the world, so that's putting that
Right.
as a more structured path, and if you wanna believe, "I am gonna get what I deserve, I am gonna get what I need to move forward, I am going to believe that I have a positive future," you are more likely to get that.
And so from the psychics part and doing so many readings and talking to so many people, the thing that I learned is, I would have people who would call me regularly, sometimes weekly, a few times daily, and go, well, it hasn't happened yet. And I would
Mm,
predict somebody coming in, and it's like, well, do you just want the knight in shining armor that's going to rescue, save, fix, and make better? Or do you really want to move forward and get what you really want and
yeah,
believe and deserve? Like, are we really moving forward? And sometimes, and it's okay, by the way, there's no right or wrong. This is every single person has an individual process. And sometimes you're on the treadmill for a while, and other
yeah,
times you're moving forward. Sometimes it's uphill, but never, ever, ever, ever. It really, it's just you do your own disservice thinking they're winning. No
yeah,
such thing.
yeah. Because this is life.
Yeah.
Life is a journey, and that's what we're talking about. So we're about halfway through. So I'm going to say thank you so much for all this learning so far, Psychic Julie. And we are going to be back after a 30-second break for a word from our sponsor. And we're back with Psychic Julie. We have been having an amazing conversation. We're talking about journeys, we're talking about believing, we're talking about making choices, and we're talking about creating the future you want with a little guidance from maybe your angels on the other side. And maybe we don't always think about it that way. Maybe that's too woo woo for you, but there is an energy in this universe. And, Brene Brown says that connection is feeling seen, heard, and being valued by someone else. And that's an energy. That's the energy that links people together. And like I connect with this person, I don't really connect with that person because there's different energy.
And by the way, we have that on the other side as well. And that's why, from the psychic intuitive place, if you get a reading from somebody and it's really not resonating, it's okay. I mean, I can't tell you how many times people would hang up on me. It's okay. The one thing is, I just know as a psychic, you have free will and free choice. I could say something to you today, and you'll be like, I don't know. I'm going to just, she said go left, and I'm really going to go right. And what's going to happen? What's going to happen is this is your journey. I believe we co create with God, source, all that is. You know, we have guardian angels, we have a lot of loved ones, we have ourselves. And I think that, you know, the things that I heard from you, especially in your opening, was just so beautiful about we have ways to move forward.
Mhm.
And if working with a psychic is one way of doing that, or working with a coach is one way of doing that, why not?
Yeah, why not? Why not release some of the pressure of it all being
Yeah.
on you? You know, I'm
Right.
sharing, yeah, I'm sharing this because um my in my I'll be transparent.
Yeah.
Right now my dad is going through something and it's a medical issue. He was rushed to the emergency room last night and is in
Mhm.
surgery now. And it's really scary. And the idea of handling and managing everything all at once is overwhelming. And yes, I have a mom, I have two sisters, but I also have a friend who is a care manager. And I called her and
Mhm.
she hooked me up with someone that helped her dad so that if I can access this help, someone who is an expert in something that I'm not an expert in, then I want to trust myself that I'm allowed to do that. I don't have to hold everything.
Right.
I can share that burden.
And you can't let fear get in the way of what your decision making is. Now, from a psychic, I'm going to simply say I think your dad's in excellent hands. I think that really he's really in great things. I don't think he's going anywhere. He's not ready to.
Good.
And, you know, uh, while life happens, there's a lot more that he wants to do, as I'm kind of getting just right now. But I'm also going to say too, I think you know that deep down as well.
Mhm.
But you needed to reach out and get the help that you did because it helps to synthesize it. It helps to process. It helps to get everything in order. What is mine to do?
Right.
What's not to do is be fearful. What's not to do is, you know, be stuck in worrying, because if you worry, you get more worry.
Right. It reinforces. When you
Right.
worry, when you say those things that you're afraid of, they become more concrete. It becomes the story that you tell about the situation.
So
And
when we were I
yeah,
mean, I again apologize for stepping on you there. I know that when we were on break, I had a little thing that kind of came up, and it said tap here, and I was like, tap tap is the word of the day. I would always get something that's like really great, and tapping into our own intuition, finding out what it is. Mine is kind of my belly button area. Like I just know kind of like I get like butterfly goosebumps. Like it's a kind of a combination of things. Or I will get goosebumps when I'm onto something. I think every single person who's listening gets something. They just
mhm,
have an inner knowingness. Like when you know, you know.
right.
The universe speaks in whispers, especially from the other side. Like when I get messages, they're not these loud, like, wah! They're more like, okay, this is it's just matter of fact. This is what it is. Like, I know your dad's going to be okay. And, you know, there's just other things that are going off in me that I'm like, I believe and trust in that. And I know it's up to him,
Yeah.
but
Yeah.
he's in great hands. I think really, I think he's really in, I think that I keep seeing somebody with him that maybe was unexpected who has a lot of experience dealing with what he's
Yeah.
going through.
Yeah. And I think that that's right. I think that that's right. And so, you know, hearing it
Mhm.
reinforces the hope, which is what's part of getting to the other side, right?
And we could dwell on the fact that it's a really crummy time to go through this with everything going on. And can you imagine? And oh my gosh, I was at the grocery store and I got this and I got that. And how could he? And yeah, and or we can take a step back and go, this is a perfect time.
Yeah.
If not now, when? And look at the opportunities that are presenting itself. Oh, wait, we get to take a deep breath.
Yeah.
And, you know, what is guiding us here? How are we, you know, using our own, again, psychic intuition, because everybody has it.
Yeah.
And then if you want to double check, call someone like me.
Right. What a great plan, right? This is a strategy. I'm always talking to my clients about building strategy and how do we do
Right.
it? And how sometimes my clients feel like they're not allowed. They're worried about money, so they don't hire the right people at the right time because they're so worried about what could happen in the future. But what might be the most important thing is to take your power now and invest in the now so that you can walk to the future.
Well, seeing as it is Thanksgiving, and I don't have the code just yet, but maybe we'll make it Thankful 10. If somebody types
That's
that in, they
great.
get a discount. We'll make sure that everybody gets, all your listeners will be able to access it. But I think that, yeah, that's what happens. I'd like to remind people about tools in the toolbox. You know, we can use our fist to pound a nail into the wall and it's going to hurt. We
Yeah,
can use the bottom of a shoe, and if your shoes are like mine, it'll probably put a hole in the shoe. If
right,
we use a hammer, we have a better chance of being the most effective
right.
and efficient. So I think that, it's just, but sometimes people do need to spin their wheels. Like, I don't judge if it takes people a while to get there. If they, uh, they kind of have to go a roundabout way or be on that treadmill for a little bit, it's okay.
Yeah,
Enjoy the view, enjoy the ride.
yeah, yeah. We need to. We need to. So, for those of you who are listening, right now we have a discount code for Psychic Julie called Thankful 10, THANKFUL 10. And thank you so much, Julie, for sharing this with us because it's really powerful. And I think that people sometimes are skeptical. They're skeptical about what can a psychic do for me? How can a psychic help me? So, how can you allay their skeptical concerns?
Well, so this again, two sides of the same coin. If somebody's going to be a skeptic, they're going to be a skeptic until something comes true. You wouldn't believe all the phone calls like, "Oh my God, what you said?" And I don't remember readings. It comes through me. I do still talk to a lot of people on a regular, almost daily basis, and you know, my job is I don't really hold attachment to what your outcome will be. I'm only telling you what I see, and it's yours to synthesize the information and use it in the best way possible. If you think, going back to my other analogy, that using your hand to pound the nail in the wall works, do it. If I'm telling you, maybe use the hammer, it might be easier, and you try it and you like it, great. I'm a big, big fan of tools. I really am.
I love
Tools
that.
work.
I want to share a story about when we first spoke, and that was about, I don't know, a month and a half ago, 2 months ago. And, um, you shared with me what you saw in my aura and you thought that love was coming in. And, I was actually, you were convinced I was going to find the person and get married in this year. This is what you said to me. And I smiled and I nodded my head. But you also said, I'm seeing thick brown hair. Now, I know that sometimes it like, men in my age group don't always have thick brown hair, but that's what you shared with me. And so, what I want to share with you is that 3 days later, my daughter got engaged
Wow.
to a man with thick brown hair. And this is something I knew was going to happen. So, I felt like what you were sensing was the wedding, the marriage, and it was right there.
But I'm gonna say there's a little caveat and an asterisk. Harriet, the love cat, would not have come in here twice and made me crazy if there wasn't something more there. So let love in, but
Okay.
don't hold attachment to where it comes from. And if it's at December 31st at 11:59 and 59 seconds where somebody's knocking on your door, why not? I know around you, the second part of this is being in a place where you're ready. And sometimes we have so much going on, we
Yeah.
forget to breathe and we forget to kind of let go and just be open to it. And I'm not saying you're closed off. You don't feel that way to me. Um, I just think that it's happening and it's still in process. I really, don't be surprised what happens next.
Okay.
More
Okay.
people meet, by the way, and it's crazy. I don't remember the statistic offhand, but it was really unbelievable. Someone can go out there and look it up. But a lot of people meet over Thanksgiving. They're out and about. A lot of people are back in town. They're visiting, they run into, they catch up with. It's a crazy time of year to do that, to any of the holidays, really. But as we're going into Thanksgiving here, I think that don't be surprised. But
Okay.
congratulations, a wedding. That's really great. I think it's more than that. But
All right.
here's the funny thing is,
Okay.
when men, especially when they of a certain age, of course, we know the hair is thinning, but men could be balder than a baby and still show me themselves with hair. It's a funny, funny thing, but I can always tell. But this guy you have, I see hair and I'm saying it, where it's being recorded. We can play back in 20 years and we're going to laugh at this and
Okay.
you're going to go, oh my gosh.
Oh my gosh.
But I
This
think you're
is
closer
cool.
to it than you realize. And I just want to say that for any listener out there, when you're in your knowingness and then you let it go and have no attachment, that's the magic. It
Yeah.
happens. It happens. I'm going to give everybody a really fun story. Okay, so I'm
Okay.
on my trip and I panic packed late at night. Now, luckily, I tend to wear the same color, black, like everybody. But after 2 weeks, like I was so tired of my clothes, I wished I was like, how come I didn't pack a white shirt? Because then you can kind of mix it up. I throw a scarf on, whatever, right? I kid you not. We were switching hotels. And I literally said that in the morning. We were switching hotels. I had my suitcase kind of half opened. And when the housekeeping came in, they kind of closed my suitcase, but there was a white shirt in it. There was a white shirt in it. It was not my shirt. I did not pack the shirt. The only thing is, I think it was on the floor, wadded up somewhere. They found it when they were cleaning from maybe the previous guest, whatever. I just threw it in the laundry here. It's my size. It was the craziest thing. I was a little too like weirded out to
Yeah.
like, how did that happen? And so be careful what you wish for. The
Okay.
universe, listen, I really got a white shirt when I was like, hey, what about this white? Crazy story. I know.
That is a really
But
crazy story, but I mean, you are a psychic, so things happen, and sometimes they actually happen to you too. So,
yeah.
thank you so much, Julie. This has been so much fun. Um, Tell us again, how can my audience find you? How can they?
Absolutely. So first, Psychic Julee. Now my name is spelled Julee. So psychicjulee.com. And if they use discount code Thankful10 at checkout, they'll get a nice little discount. I have different time slots in there. Just depends on how long you'd like to speak. And if you have any other questions or want to know more, you can always email me, hello@psychicjulee.com. My office might get it first. I don't answer everything I get. But again, I just look forward to kind of connecting with you again and maybe some of your listeners. And guess who just came back in here? Like
I
literally came back
think
in.
Harriet Katz. Harriet
Harriet,
Katz is on
she's
the
the love
table.
kitty. We were talking about it. And the door, and we have a beautiful day going on outside. So she came in from outside just to remind you, love is coming.
Thank you, Harriet. I love it. Thank you so much, Julie, actually, because this was a really fun conversation. It was deep, it was meaningful, and it was real. And I want people to know that when I bring someone on this show, I'm bringing them on because they offer you real value. They offer you tools, and maybe it's a tool you didn't expect, but it might be exactly the right tool for that job. So thank you, Julie. For my audience, you can always find me at lzlcoaching.com, and you can email me, lisa@lzlcoaching.com. See you next time on Dishing on Divorce.